Hi, this is Wanda Vitale with the Empowered Empaths, and I'm coming to you today to talk about why don't we go after our dreams? What do you think that is? I had a conversation with another coach this morning who, like me, believes that our lives have made us subject matter experts and that we've just, as we approach, I don't know, 45 and up, we're really in a prime position to create impact in the world. We've become unflappable. If you have a corporate background like I do, you've been through some stuff, or maybe you've just been through some stuff in your life with kids and death and, life. So, but why don't we go after something bigger and something more? And I get it that some of that is confidence. And I understand that. So some of it's confidence, but really I believe that a big part of that is that we believe that to create something that's much bigger than where we are in our lives now, we believe it's going to take massive action, lots of action. And that's what I want to talk about today, that aspect of it, not the confidence part, but the action part of it. Action is really the illusion, and action on its own does not create. Action for the sake of action is the old way. It's the belief that we make things happen, that we can be really effective and make things happen from the lowest level of creation, and that is action. I, for one, several years ago, used to think about having a coaching business, creating impact, reaching people that needed to hear that everything is possible, because that's been my life. Everything is possible. But then I would go into, oh, that's just so much work. And I would get tired before I start. And I think that's really what a lot of people believe. But here's the big secret. Action alone does not create. It doesn't do anything. So let's dive into that a little bit. Definitely, we need to take action. And definitely, the greater the gap between where you are and where you want to be is going to require some action. But really understand that we take action from one of two places. It's either from fear or from love. So what does fear-based action look like? It looks like, oh, I've got to do this in order to make money come in. Oh, I've got to buy that program and do all that stuff that just I don't really want to do, and it just doesn't feel right, but somebody else, this coach, said I should do it, so I need to do it. Action for the sake of action feels like really pushing yourself. And again, it's from fear, because it's from fear because we believe, when we're taking fear-based action, that if I don't do this, then I won't get what I want, then nothing will happen. It's fear. So we're operating from lack. But realize, friends, that you can't go from lack to fulfillment. Just like you can't go from sadness, you can't be depressed and sad and then expect happiness and joyful situations to show up. We cannot be in fear and lack and then at the same time expect to be fulfilled. So what do we do? What do we do? How do we get around that? So what does create? Living from the end of your wish fulfilled is what creates. If you want a successful coaching business, you imagine what it's like when you have a successful coaching business. You imagine perhaps receiving emails from people saying, oh my gosh, this work changed my life. You imagine looking at your PayPal or Stripe balance, and you see you've got money. You imagine feeling the fulfillment of changing people's lives. That is what creates. So, and then you are compelled to take action along the way, but it's action that doesn't feel like, oh, I have to do this, or this feels hard. It feels like, I think I'll do this. So I don't know if this rings true for you, but it certainly used to ring true for me. I mean, I have a background in business development and selling multi-million-dollar deals. And I was really good at working hard, making things happen. I managed people. I managed a sales staff. I was responsible for huge quotas. And I used to think that working hard, efforting, without the imagining part, was the thing that created results. And yes, I created results and I was successful, but I was also exhausted. And I think that's what so many of you who have businesses are doing. You're doing it the hard way. Or, as I started with, I think you just stop yourselves because you think, oh, it's so much work and I don't want to do it. So I want you to consider that if you're really wanting to create impact in the world, wanting to touch people, that is a God desire in you. That's a nudge from your God self, higher self, soul saying, hey, it's time to expand. It's time for more of who you are, which is your source or your God self, to express through you as you. And if you hold yourself back, it's not pretty. It feels like having to numb out. It feels like you going into your head in monkey mind to suppress this desire for expansion. It feels like numbing out until soul or source no longer just does a gentle nudge, but something comes along like it did in my life, where a divorce cleaned out my bank account, an accident gave me a diagnosis that I couldn't walk, and cleaned out again my bank account, so that I really had no choice but to say, all right, whatever it is that I came here to do before I took on this body, I guess I'll do it. And I don't want you, any of you listening to this, to have to get to that point, but I can assure you that if you're meant for more, you feel it. You're feeling it. You're feeling it in terms of boredom. You're feeling it like in unfulfillment, like, well, is this all there is? You're feeling it in discontent. That's how our soul or the infinite gets our attention. So if you're feeling that now, look at your beliefs around action and how you think that works. There's just such an easier way to create. Action alone is hit or miss. Action, and you will get results. In action alone that is inspired action will get results, but it's hit or miss. The thing that works is going to the end of what you want. Cut out that middle piece of how and what if and all that doubt in the middle. Go right to the end and live in that it's already done. And this is what it feels like. Align your speech and your inner conversations with, I love my life. I love that I'm reaching people. Make it present tense. Neville Goddard talks about this. When I realized that the words that I speak, not only just think, but my inner conversations that were always happening, when I realized that the power that they have, my own life changed, right? So all of us are always talking to ourselves. Usually we're having conversations with imaginary people about what ifs, right? Negative what ifs. So when we go to the end where we're inhabiting our vision or dream or desire fulfilled, we become magnetic and we pull in the exact people, the exact situations in the exact perfect timing for each of us. It's unique. We pull in the correct strategy for us at the perfect time. And so it puts us in flow. It's that bridge of incidence. And as soon as you put yourself in your desired end, you've immediately started the bridge of incidence, so that you're in that river that's taking you to your desired end. And so, and you'll know what action to take. It'll feel interesting. It'll feel like fun, but it does not feel like no pain, no gain, that thing. It does not feel like struggle at all. I don't struggle. If there's struggle or big effort involved in anything that feels like big effort, it's not my thing. It's not my thing. It is the struggle and effort and hard work are the hard ways to create. And so let yourself have what you want. Let yourself dream about what you'd really like. So many of you are ready to create impact in the world. I know it because I talk to a lot of you. But the thing that stops you is, well, I don't know how. Well, this is the magic piece. We don't need to know how. Not our job. That is above our pay grade. Our job is staying locked in to this life that we're creating, and that you can always change along the way. You don't have to know it all right now, but if you know that you want to create impact in the world, you can imagine that, what it feels like, what your life would be like when you're creating impact. And then you stay out of that messy middle, which is where everybody gets hung up. So, and why do we get hung up on that messy middle, the how? Because we don't trust. We just don't trust this piece that the infinite, who lives and breathes us, will in fact bring us the perfect people. We don't trust that the infinite, who lives and breathes us, will orchestrate the events so that we get what we want. So what do people do? They revert to action, or they have programitis, right? I know so many coaches who have programitis. They've bought every program that's out there, and maybe they try it, maybe they don't. Maybe it just becomes another program that they plunk down thousands for, but it doesn't work. This is exactly why one program might work for one person, but it doesn't work for 10 others, because there's a perfect way for you to create what you want, a perfect way. And it comes to you. It lands in front of your nose so that you don't have to figure out, what do I do? How do I do it? I worked with someone yesterday who is creating, who's been selected is one of the contestants to receive an award. And so this person is in the messy middle. Do I write this? Do I do this? Which picture? In the messy middle. And that's where most people drop off. You get confused, you give up, and you believe your doubt. You believe your doubt more than you believe this power that makes you breathe. So I said the same thing to her. Get out of the middle. Stand in your conviction that you won, that this is yours because you're the best. Feel it. I suggested that she start to write her thank you letter now, not to send it, but to start her thank you letter about receiving this very prestigious award. That is what coalesces everything. That is what makes her and you a big magnet that pulls in the absolute perfect pieces and in the perfect time with the path or through the path of least resistance. That's how it works, friends. So, what else can I say about this? So, we live in parallel realities. Everything already exists. So if you're wanting something, if you're feeling the desire to create impact, there's a version of you that's already doing that. Or you wouldn't be feeling it. You couldn't translate that energy into thought. So there is that version of you already experiencing it. So how do you literally do it? You stop focusing on the doubt, the fear, the what if I fail, what if, the fear of being seen. And you just move yourself to that alternative reality where a part of you is already living and creating impact. And you stay there. And when your mind says, yes, but, you don't pay attention. And you don't give meaning to 3D reality. I've talked about this before. 3D reality is just the mirror, and it changes and reflects what you believe and what you're focusing on. So the purpose of 3D reality is just to show us, it's like a guidance system, like Abraham through Esther Hicks said. It shows us what we're thinking and believing. It's the perfect mirror. So when the doubts come up, you use that as a sign to go back into your vision. And Vadim Zeland in Transurfing talks about it this way. I have a diagram for it, but he talks about it like if you go to a theater in parallel realities, if you go to a theater and you see a movie, and then you the next day you come back and you're in the same theater and it's the same movie, but a few things are different. So you've just shifted to another timeline. And then you leave the theater, you come back the next day, and same theater, same movie, new actors. You do it, you come back the next week, same movie or same theater, same movie, totally different plot. The movie title's the same, but it's a totally different plot. And then you come back a week later, it's the same theater, different movie, different everything. And that's how we transition from where we are to this reality where you're living a life you love, where you're creating impact, where you have a business that's thriving and you're reaching other people. Or, if you don't want a business, where you have that new home, where you have that loving relationship. We move gradually, but it's not us moving, it's consciousness moves. Consciousness moves through us and then shows us a different reflection in the mirror of 3D or form. So that's actually how this works. Our lives are really just a bunch of like films. And just think of them as every film that we're in. the storyline that we're in or timeline that we're in has its own script. And so when we decide we want something else, we don't change the outside, we change in here. We change how we think, we change who we are. We change an identity of who we're being, so that then gradually these freeze frames, the 3D, which is just a bunch of stills that are speeded up to look like they're moving, so that your 3D life then changes. That's really what we're doing, but it's all an inside job. All of it is an inside job. So it doesn't have to be hard. It's not hard. If it's hard, you've introduced resistance. If you're thinking that there's got to be more to it, there doesn't. There's so many of us who live this way. We're living lives that we love, and we're doing it the easy way. Neville Goddard talks about this. Abraham talks about this. Joe Dispenza. Spiritual greats talk about this. So this is really a matter of looking at, what do you want? And then understand that mirror of 3D is just always showing you what you believe. And that to believe in hard work and effort and struggle as a way to get what you want. Yeah, you can do that, because we only experience our beliefs. But it's much easier and kinder to do it without all that action, because that's how most people are living. Action, probably, I bet 99% of the world believes that action alone creates their desires, and it just doesn't. You're not linear. You're quantum. You don't have, things don't flow like your past equals your present equals your future. You're quantum. You just choose, what do I want? What do I want? And then you stick with it and let the means to get there come to you in this very natural flow. And they do, every single time. So let yourself dream. Let yourself want what you want. Let yourself feel, if you're wanting to make an impact, as so many of you are here to do, start imagining it. Start imagining it. Because there's only one of you in all of all that is. You're here for a very unique reason. And you're here to create an impact that only you can make. And if you're denying that, you could, those soul nudges are going to get harder and harder. And listen, I don't want anybody to experience what I did, really, when, my soul said, okay, it's time, ready or not, we're doing this. Start now, start dreaming, start imagining it. And I can assure you, if you stay out of that messy middle where all the doubt is, it's like living on a magic carpet ride, where things that you could not make happen in a million years show up for you. It is the most amazing, magical way to live. I experience this all the time. Yeah, I'd love to hear your comments, and go for it. We've only got this one precious life, right? What are you going to do with this one precious life of yours? Make it count, because you matter. Your life has given you a PhD in something, and the world is ready for it, or you wouldn't be feeling these little nudges of, oh, I would really like to fill in the blank. All right. So again, this is Wanda Vitale. You can find me on social media, on Facebook at Wanda Vitale. I have a public group called the Empowered Empaths, and I have a private group that's just focused on creation, and it's called Ditch the Doubt and Dance with Creation. And if there are any topics you'd like me to address, send me an email, wanda@theempoweredempaths.com, and I'll look at those and create a video. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day.